When we talk about Mazinger Z, we usually think of Japan and Spain. But in the United States, Mazinger's story is very different. It is not a story of success. It is a story of misunderstandings, censorship, failed experiments, and one bold attempt to completely reinvent Mazinger for the Western world. Mazinger Z was created in 1972 by Go Nagai. It revolutionized Japanese pop culture. For the first time, a giant robot was not controlled remotely. It was piloted from the inside. Mazinger was not just a machine. It was a weapon, a responsibility, and a moral burden. In Japan, it became a cultural phenomenon. In Europe, especially in Spain and Italy, it exploded. But in the United States, Mazinger struggled to find a place. During the 1970s, American pop culture was dominated by superheroes, Marvel, DC, capes, masks, and city skylines. A giant robot created in Japan felt strange, too violent, too dramatic, too foreign. Mazinger did not fit the American mold. In 1978, Mazinger finally arrived on American television. But it did not arrive as Mazinger Z. The anime was heavily edited, renamed, and transformed into Tranzor Z. Names were changed, violence was cut, dialogues were rewritten. Koji Kabuto became Tommy Davis. Dr. Hell became Blyton. The result was a show that confused everyone. Too dark for children, too childish for adults. Tranzor Z was cancelled quickly. Unlike Europe, the United States never received the original Mazinger manga during the 1970s or 1980s. Without the manga, Mazinger had no cultural roots. For years, it survived only among collectors and hardcore anime fans. Mazinger existed on the margins. Then, in 1988, something extraordinary happened. Go Nagai himself created a brand new Mazinger story specifically for the American market. Not a translation, not an adaptation, a completely original work. It was titled simply Mazinger. Often referred to as Mazinger U.S.A., this was one of the earliest manga projects ever designed for the United States by a Japanese creator. This version of Mazinger was radically different. It was full color, read from left to right, structured like an American comic book. The story took place in a post-apocalyptic future. Humanity was forced to live underground after centuries of war. Mazinger was no longer a symbol of optimism and scientific progress. It was a last weapon of survival. Koji Kabuto was no longer a reckless teenager. He was a military officer, a soldier. The tone was darker, harsher, more cynical. This was a deliberate attempt to westernize Mazinger. But here lies the core problem. Mazinger is not Batman. It is not a dark anti-hero born from trauma. Mazinger is about responsibility, about fear of technology, about power that can save humanity or destroy it. By removing its cultural roots, something essential was lost. Mazinger U.S.A. did not launch a series. It did not change the American comic market, but it still matters. It proves that Go Nagai genuinely tried to speak to the American audience decades before manga became mainstream in the West. It was an experiment, a bold one. Mazinger failed in America when it was censored. It failed when it was rewritten. And it failed when it was reshaped to look more Western. But when Mazinger is presented as it truly is, it becomes timeless. In the United States, Mazinger Z is not a childhood memory. It is a discovery. And sometimes legends arrive late, but never too late.